For the next few weeks, I want to break down every section of the budget. This week we're going to talk about education. Education is one of our largest spends in the state of Oklahoma. We put a lot of time through our subcommittee work, so that is our number one expenditure. And if we look at the overall expenditure of education, we increased it by about 11.6% this year. I want to break those down just a little bit. In common education, we did a few things this year that I think will make a difference in the lives of children. One of those is we've added $9 million, but involved in that is funding for alternative education. One that we're really excited about is the early intervention. That's from a very young age, 0 to 36 months, and we're excited about that. And also reading sufficiency. The other area that I'm excited about, we want to continue to take care of our employees in education. That continues to grow. Our flex benefit allowance, we had to add about $17.8 million to that. So we look at our common education budget this year, and it increased by about $17 million this year in common ed, which puts us to about $3.1 billion. That is our largest spend of any agency in the state of Oklahoma. For the last few years, though, we've had an issue recruiting teachers and keeping teachers. And so this year, in higher education, we have taken the first step of a $40 million spend on the Teacher Shortage Employment Incentive Program. That's a 5-year program. This year we're putting $17.3 million into it, and that is to recruit teachers. It'll help them with tuition. It'll help them with some other payments that they need. But we've got to start at the very beginning of getting teachers back into the pipeline and say this is a very important occupation. It's something that we believe in, and so we're going to be funding that this year. Also in higher education, we're involved in placing money into our workforce, which is very critical, our STEM program, and we're adding about $11.5 million this year to that, so higher education. And we need workers in Oklahoma, and so we focused on that this year. Also in career tech, we are not only just increased their flex benefit allowance, and that continues to climb up every year, but we've added $2.5 million this year to expand the skill centers and for dropout recovery. And so individuals that are incarcerated, they need a job. Whenever they're released, they need to be taxpayers instead of tax takers, and they really want to learn occupation. And so they want to be productive citizens. We want them to be. And so we've added more funds into that to help that go forward. And so as we look at education in the state of Oklahoma, it includes several different areas, and I've only highlighted 3 of them here today. But I really believe that this legislative body, this budget this year, has addressed the needs in education. Now, oftentimes I'm asked questions, why did you not put more into common education? Keep in mind that this last year, coming out of the pandemic, Common Ed received $600 million in CARES money. They received $1.4 billion in ARPA funds that the State Department of Education is still working their way through. From that, they were able to put $30 million into counselors back into schools. And so we realize we're still very much in a transition with some of our schools as we're getting back to full-time education. We're excited about our schools, we're excited about our education system, and it's always first and foremost on our minds.